Hello and welcome to episode 74 of Loaded Sport. We're all on screen again. I think it went Kemp was fucking looking confused. He's throwing me off, but I think it went quite well last week. I don't know what he's saying because he's on mute. But anyway, what a start! Hot start to proceedings, and it's no doubt, fuck me, no doubt a sign of things to come over the next hour or hour and a half. There's a sign of how my week's been. But anyway. We've got a full squad, you can see it, so let me bring them in one by one. And I've got a new question. Normally, lads, I'll ask you how you are, how your week's been, and all this kind of stuff. But I just want to, of course, know how you are. But my main question for you during the intro is, what has been the highlight of your time between the last recording and this one this evening? So have a quick little think. And Aggy, I'm going to come to you first, mate. So how are you? And what's been your highlight from the last recording to tonight?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. My highlight has been I'll probably have to go with a quick thought. Football from Tuesday night. Not the greatest of first halves, but as you saw, sat beside me, it was an excellent second half performance and a good 3 points as well. So yeah, that'll be my highlight.
I like it, mate. They're on the way, aren't they? Now got to go up and
I've got to go up this year. Yeah.
Lads, you'll be happy to know I got Aggy to have another Supper Madry, and he absolutely hated it. But I think by end of the season, he'll be asking me if we're having a Supper Madry. So we're on our way. Of course, we've got two more people to bring in, as you can see, for those of you watching on YouTube. And Kemp, I'm going to come to you next, mate. How are you, and what's been your highlight between recordings?
All good, all good. I think my highlight, to be fair, it's been a very, very busy week. And the time that I've not been working and grafting my arse off, I've been on Football Manager. Football Manager 24 is now out. The beta version is now out. And I took Warrington Town to the National League North title, which was a big achievement to say that we were second favourites to go down. So that's probably my highlight from this last week. So Mr. Dawson, Mr. White, man with the mic, your reflection of perfection, man who gets all the attention. Looking at the man with the biggest arms, the man with the biggest charm, the man in Chesterfield who's going to go 3 doors down. What are you going to do? How are you going to deal with the man of steel that is Aggy? And how are you going to stop Ag's attack? How are we, chaps? All right?
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I just feel like we should end it there. That's the highlight of the episode right there. There's your TikTok clip for the week. And of course, as always, by me, no means last but least. Fuck me, I'm all over the shop tonight, lads. But I'm not. It's because I've not. But normally I've got a nice little cold beer, just to take edge off, as we say. But I've poured a cat.
No. As you say, and don't stop saying.
Right,
don't
right,
drag us down
right,
that shit.
right. Sam, you're gonna have to wait, mate. But first of all, Aggie at football, when you've had a sup, you're ready. Then you're ready.
Yeah, you see, he don't want it.
Don't matter,
You're forcing down
like
his
it,
neck
mate.
with a funnel.
but he still enjoyed it, and also Premier Inn, London, busy day, hectic.
Yeah.
Going back to the room while adrenaline's still going, I went, let's go to the bar and have one, take edge off. And you rated it so much, so don't give me that.
Rate it. No, I 100% rate it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with taking the edge off, but you said, as we all say. Who says it?
He's right, to be fair.
Fair point, well made. Sam, how are you, mate? And what's been the highlight of the last week or so?
Yeah, good, thanks, boys. I ain't got no Ponzi rhymes to make up for you all, but but yeah, decent week. Highlight of the week previously will be the Chinese that I mentioned on the last show. The all-you-can-eat Chinese made an absolute fucking mess of the place. So yeah, it was a top quality performance from the staff at the Lotus Lounge.
Love that, mate. And I suppose
me
follow
every time, Sam. You tell me where that is every single time, but you're gonna have to tell me again because every time you mention it, I want to go more and more and more, and I always forget.
It's Alfreton. That's all it is in Alfreton. And honestly, I have been fucking at least 20 times.
10 minutes down road.
Yeah, that's it. I've been at least 20 times, and I'm not exaggerating when I say I've literally never had a bad one, like ever, ranked, ever. They're always top-notch, fresh as fuck food. Yeah, this should get a little Lotus Lounge, little logo pop up here, get a bit,
will I have to book?
Bit of fucking advertising.
Can you just turn up? Or do you have
no,
to book?
I would book. Just give him a call and get booking.
Might have to treat myself and the father-in-law to that tomorrow night, potentially.
Ooh, great shout. I'd get booking sooner rather than later, it being a Friday night. Skimbo, how was your previous week, mate?
Yeah, all right, mate. It's been steady in terms of highlights. I'd love to say watching Killers of the Flower Moon that, like Kemp said there, like you said, I said I was going to be watching, but very, very disappointing. So I suppose I'll go with Aggie. Tuesday night at Town. It's becoming a little bit of a fixture of our week so far this season, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Great second half, and good to see their continued path to promotion. Still looking strong. So yeah, I'll go with that. I'll stick with Aggy with that one. But just a very quick follow-up question, Sam, before we get stuck in. What was the highlight dish from your trip to Lotus Lounge?
Right. So we had this conversation on the way back in the car, and turns out mine was massively controversial. And I think you specifically, Skin, is going to fucking hate this. As much as I absolutely love the wings, the lamb, the duck, all of it was so fucking good. The highlight of it, just, something where it just proper hits the spot. Like, it was the first thing I had, and obviously I was starving, so that's probably why I enjoyed it more than everything else. It was the chicken noodle soup, and it was the only. And it was I was the only person that had it, because you get you can order like a mixture, and you get like a sample of like all different dishes, but they don't obviously bring soup out. So I said, can I have a bowl of chicken noodle soup as well? And fucking hell, it's insanely good, and it just proper hit the spot and just set the tone for the meal.
Yeah, Kemp's definitely going tomorrow now. That's sorted. So we'll hear Kemp's review next week. And Kemp, it's only right that if you do go, mate, you start pitching like if they want to become our first sponsors after that raving review. But anyway, lads, let's get stuck into episode 74. We are now on the third episode of our new format, where each week we bring a question to the table for us all to give our opinions and answers on. So I'm looking forward, as I'm sure our viewers and listeners are, to hearing what we have got planned for this week. I've spun the wheel. Sam, you will be very happy to note that you are not first this week after going first for the previous 2 weeks. Mr. Man with the mic, Aggy Marsden, you're up first this week. So what is your question, and who are you going to first?
So my question this week is, if you could be in your peak in any sport, what sport would it be? And if it's a team game, what role would you play? So, Kemp, I'll come to you first for this one.
I'm not thinking about this in terms of like the most money or the most glitz or the most glamour. I'm thinking about this as what your dream is as a kid, right? And my dream as a kid was to play for Sheffield United, play up top for Sheffield United, and score in the FA Cup final. And that's how you know it's a dream, if Sheffield United are scoring in an FA Cup final. But yeah, that's what it would be. I'd be up front. I'd be Sheffield United. I'd be the next coming of Billy Sharp, leading the line, scoring all the goals, and hopefully end up with a statue outside Bramall Lane, and a spot in the Platinum Suite, so that when it gets cold, I can snuggle up with a little blanket and might have a prawn sandwich there as well at the same time. So yeah, for me, it's got to be, grew up a Sheffield United fan, grew up a massive football fan. Throughout all the sports in my life that I've been like keen on and then not keen on, came into golf in the last few years, came into NFL the last few years. Surprisingly enough to you boys, and you'll be very surprised to know it, I used to like tennis when I was younger.
Nice.
Cannot stand the game now. So yeah, as the games have come and gone and interests have come and gone, football has always been that one constant, and Sheffield United, for my sins, has always been that one team. So yeah, I'd play up front for Sheffield United, Aggy, bagging goals for fun against Chesterfield in friendlies, I think.
Would you be a one club man, or would you start and end at Sheffield United?
Good question. That's a good question.
Wait.
Go on.
You said a one club man or start and end at Sheffield United. Are they not the same thing, or do you mean
no? Because you can transfer in the middle.
Transfer in the middle.
Yeah.
I think it depends. So let's use it as how Sheffield United are now, right? So I would probably say go and come back. Because I think if you stay at Sheffield United your entire career, yeah, you are going to get Premier League football, and you're going to be bottom at Premier League and get relegated, and you're going to do well at Championship. But living out that dream of winning an FA Cup, maybe a Premier League and a European Cup, ultimately those dreams aren't going to be lived out. So hopefully I'll see the same sort of career progression from Kyle Walker when he runs out of contract at Man City and comes back to Bramall Lane. So that's kind of the model I'd base it on. And he's not a bad looking lad either, is he? So
Nice. Sam, will come across to you next.
Yeah, I was saying as Kemp, I back to and fro on a lot of these. Football had certainly come into my head, like Kemp says, every English boy's dream, I think, in it. That's your 101 when you're 5 years old, kick it ball in your back garden. Then I moved, tennis also was one with Kemp. I just thought, obviously, I like the sport, and it's, I'm thinking a bit of a dollar as well. And then I ended up settling on being a quarterback in the National Football League. And I think it's a bit brave. I think I could, if I'm choosing a sport, I could definitely choose a sport with a bit less contact, But I'm thinking get that dollar in. It's one of the best paid gigs in the entire world. And just managed to just throw a tuddy into back shoulder fade into corner end zone, and I think trying to win a Super Bowl as well just would be the ultimate thing. And obviously with the NFL comes all the American adverts that you get sponsorships with. So yeah, I'm just fucking lying back, raking it in, CT to fuck at about 40-year-old, and that'll be the end to my life.
You'd be frozen stiff like you were on camera then for about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Fucking hell, internet must have
We
dropped
heard
that.
every word though, mate. We heard every word.
No, that's all right then.
So my question to you then is, on the back of you saying that you'd be a quarterback, you know more about the backroom staff and the actual like head coaches, offensive coordinators than I do. So who would you say would be the ideal offensive coordinator to call the players with you?
That's a tricky question, that.
I'm stealing fucking hard questions tonight.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's a really, really difficult question. Offensive coordinator, that's quite niche as well. Definitely not the Green Bay Packers' current offensive coordinator. Definitely not that. And I will go into a little bit about that more later on. But it's a very tough question that you've put me on the spot. I think I might cheat a bit and might go head coach. An offensive head coach as my offensive coordinator, and I'm looking at either a Sean McVay or a Kyle Shanahan, maybe someone that's Kyle Shanahan.
Creative mind,
but not just that. He's going to hide some of your deficiencies as well. So if you are a little bit of a weaker thrower, Kyle Shanahan, no problem whatsoever. So one of them kind of creative gurus in offense would suit me down to the ground.
It'd be fucking wildcat offense every snap. Sam will be stood out as wide receiver.
running back, you do it. You take it.
Yeah.
I'm bollocks.
on the very rare occasion where Tom Brady did it, and he'd just be stood on the sideline and he wouldn't fucking move an inch when the ball was snapped.
What's that about 10,
lads. Yeah,
10 minutes in?
What's time check? 5, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Didn't take long, did it?
Went even his fucking segment. It were mine. He's fucking pulling into mine to call him out. Fucking impressive, that mate. Impressive.
That's it now. Each week I'm going to fucking find a way.
Yeah, you do it anyway, so it'll just be business as usual. There'll be no change.
No different at all.
Next week I'm just going to scream Tom Brady right at the start. That'll be the first thing I say.
Anyway, you might as well have, mate.
That's me. That's me done, mate. Aggy.
Well, I've got a quick follow-up question. What number would you wear?
Oh, that is a good question. That is a really good question that I'd not thought of. You know what? I've got to stay true to my pro clubs, really, and I'm going to go number 10.
Like it.
10 is what I've normally wear when playing football. So back in my old day when I was a bit lighter, that was my number. So, number 10 is a bit of an Eli Manning.
Oh, look at that. Aggy.
Hey, 2 rings, mate. 2 rings.
2 rings, baby.
Both against Tom Brady. I got one in as well.
Yeah.
Aggy, what number do you think I would be?
What number? I think you'd be number 7.
Number
9.
Number 9. Dawson's got it straight away. Yeah. If you know me, you know I like a 1, 2, 11 across the board, and you know I'm having 9 and 10 up top. So.
Right.
Yeah,
it'll be right. Skin.
You're coming to me, mate. So
yeah, I'll come to you next.
Kemp wants to be the hometown hero, get the plaudits of the people around him and the community. Sam wants the fame, the fortune, and everything else that goes with being an NFL quarterback. I'm just in it for the bants, and I'm there for the vibes. You know me, lads, and I'm there for the pops. So I'm not going football. I'm not going NFL. I am becoming a prime darts player.
Nice.
Sam talks about the easy life, touring the world, chucking some arrows, having a bit of banter with the players around you, and of course the atmosphere that you play in and amongst it with the crowd that is the darts crowd. So yeah. There's probably not much more for me to say with that. There's a bit of money in darts now, so I think I can live very comfortably if I'm, a pretty good level within that sport. So I'm playing darts.
Okay, so my question to you is, if you was to create an ideal scenario for you on dream matchups for a quarterfinal, semi-final, and final, past or present, which 3 are you facing?
Past or present? Okay, I'm talking World Championship, yeah.
Yeah.
You've done some serious prep here, Aggy.
He showed us his notes earlier, didn't he?
These are fucking unbelievable questions.
So, I would beat Raymond van Barneveld in the quarterfinals.
Ooh,
I would beat I would beat my favourite all-time darts player in the semi-finals, which is Gary Anderson.
Yeah.
And then you've got to want to beat Phil the Power Taylor in the final to win the World Championship, haven't you? I don't think there's really any other
sports person of all time. It doesn't get any better than that.
That's what
Check out episode 73 if you haven't already.
Word on the grapevine.
My answer was Tom Brady.
Oh, shut up.
I'll stop now. I'm genuinely done now, unless it is relevant. So yeah, that's my run. Van Barneveld, Gary Anderson, and Phil Taylor.
Nice. Right, I'll finish off.
Wait, I just want to put out there as well, because I thought someone might ask what my entrance song would be, because obviously that's big when you're a darts player, and I would go Coldplay, Viva La Vida.
Nice.
I think that'd be a great one for crowds. Once it kicks in, up crowd. When it fades off, everyone going, oh.
I like it. I do like it.
Yeah,
I think once you're there, mate. I think once you're there and it happened, you're like, yeah, that's class.
We'll try it.
Probably come out to fucking fix you or something. Just everyone's on a downer.
When I get my dartboard up in garage, we'll get everybody round and get theme music.
Yeah.
I'll go down well, mate. Aggie, sorry, mate. Let's hear yours.
No, man, it's all right. I'm going to go back to what Kemp said and go with football. Despite playing fullback for the majority of my short-lived career, I'm going to go with holding midfielder in CDM, just in front of the back four. Very similar to what I do on FIFA, just break up play and win the ball back, and then nobody else.
The compliance officer of football. No nonsense.
Yeah. Very, very keen. If it's out
he'll be telling referee rules.
A town player will make a foul, and then he'll be saying to the ref, that were a foul.
He'll bring rule book out.
We already know the refs don't know the rules, so I can help with that. But no, as long as the ball's not in the back of the net, who gives a shit? So. Yeah, just in front of the back four, winning the ball, passing it to somebody beside me that can pass properly, and let it go from there.
Maestro. So I've got a question for you, because you've been asking unbelievable questions to everybody else. So if you were to model your footballing career then as a CDM, just sat in front of the back four of you model it on any professional footballer that's ever played the game, whose career would you like to emulate in that respect? Whose career would you like to model?
Mate, I'm glad you asked me that, because I've actually written down Roy Keane.
It has to be Keane, doesn't it? It has to be Keane.
Gotta be. I think he may be Claude Makelele or something like that, but yeah.
Oh, but he's English, isn't he? He's not going to no foreign muck over here.
That's true.
He's got Irish.
Oh, fucking hell. What am I on about there?
A very quick question from me, Aggie. You asked Kemp about his career path. What's yours? Are you town through and through, no matter where they go and where they drop to, or you start at town, go somewhere else and come back like Kemp said, or do you never touch it?
Right, I've got ambition. I'm going wherever offers me the most money.
What's your number, Aggie?
17. Always
17?
I like
always
it.
17. I'm always 17.
I know it's 17 mate. On pro clubs, but I didn't think that'd be...
No, I like it.
17 all the way through. There we go.
Nice one.
You wouldn't like it if you played for me, Aggie. You'd be number 4 and that'd be it. No conversation. Conversation, son. That's yours.
You can have 17, but you're on the bench every week. You never get to start.
That's right. Yeah.
Happy days. Good question, mate. And we've all, just about all gone relatively different, at least between you and Kemp. You went different positions. But next up, Mr. Thomas Kemp. Let's hear your question, mate.
Oh, shit.
Hardest question of the week, by the way. Hardest question of the week.
Shit! I've just realised I've not actually got an answer. So
that's how hard it is.
I'll come to Dawson last then.
I'll have it ready.
Yeah, and I think this question is so difficult because of the plethora of these types of things that have existed in the world. So I've gone a little bit different. Usually it's purely sport based, but this week I've kind of crossed over a little bit. There's a little bit of a crossover between sports and gaming. So
loving the crossover theme with boxing and all.
Yeah, love that from you. So yeah, I've done a little bit of sport, but also a little bit of gaming. And we all, as we mentioned, pro clubs a couple of times tonight. We all like to have a game from time to time. Relieves the stress a little bit, and we all like it as a hobby. So my question was and is, what is your favourite sports video game of all time? And Aggie, I will start with you.
Yes, similar to the theme that you went with when you said that your best moment of the week was purchasing Football Manager. I have gone for a Football Manager game. However, I've gone for LMA Manager in 2005. I remember in 2002, I got the LMA game for Christmas, and I sat there thinking, this game's going to be absolutely boring. Yeah, sat there thinking I'm not going to be able to play any of the games. I literally just sit and watch it. It's going to be boring.
Stop. You are not allowed to say sat here thinking without then doing the impression. You are not allowed to continue with what you're saying until you do the Charlie.
I don't know what impression it is.
Charlie Nicholas saying sitting here thinking. You cannot continue with what you're saying until you've done it. That's the rule.
They sitting here thinking in a Scottish accent.
No, I'm all right, thanks.
I will hold this episode hostage. I will hold this hostage.
And you just sitting there thinking, that's it.
Say it. Just do it.
So I started playing the game.
I will hold this episode hostage for the next. And Kemp will know. He's been in a hotel room at 3 in the morning.
Come on, Aggy, get it on, boy.
It's not happening. Let me get on with what I'm saying.
I will ring your landline live on air.
There was the. I'm carrying on.
Aggy,
shut up. I'm carrying on.
Aggy,
I'm carrying on. Shut up.
Aggy,
I'm carrying on.
Do it.
No. I can't do a Scottish accent, so I'll just move on. So with the soundtrack Fella May 2005 was decent, and I liked the little invention. I don't know if anybody was aware back then with PS2s, you could have the iToy, where when you started playing the game, you had to take a picture of you happy, disappointed, and neutral. For me, obviously, all reactions were the exact same, but it then reflected what happened throughout the season.
I did his happiest face in his iToy said neutral.
That was like you were doing a best man speech, then he got a little laugh from room and he just paused just to appreciate the laugh. And I'll carry on now.
On a sitcom.
Let it breathe, didn't he?
Waiting for audience applause.
Canned laughter, let it breathe.
Yeah, canned laughter, that's it. Canned laughter, that's it.
I'm so sitting here thinking.
But yeah, the game was, I think, quite a bit ahead of its time for the reactions as well. So yeah, enjoyed that game.
All right. Well, unfortunately, Aggy, your opinion is null and void because you didn't do a sitting out thinking in a Charlie Nicholas voice. So, although LMA 2005 is an unbelievable answer, the amount of hours I've poured into that game over the years, especially with my mate, I'd always used to be Sunderland, he always used to be Wolves, and we always used to battle for the championship. And I always used to start the same players, and he always used to start the same players as well. So, it was fond memories, but unfortunately, fuck you, you're disqualified. Sam. On to you next. What is your favourite sports video game of all time?
Really, really, really fucking hard for me. And it took me this is probably the question I've got blank for the longest period of time. Clearly Dawson has only filled it in just now, so
I've had a shortlist all week and I've just not been able to narrow it down because it's solid.
Yeah. I will give my honourable mention before I say it. Fight Night Round 3 was on, and it was on my list until about 2 days ago. And I said it out loud to Dawson. He was like, I think you should say this one instead. And it's FIFA 13. Now, FIFA 13 for me wasn't just any old FIFA where it's same FIFA every year. It's fucking not. FIFA 13 was the fucking apex of FIFA gaming, and it's been on a downhill trend ever since that year. Ultimate Team.
I completely agree, by the way.
Yeah.
13, best FIFA game of all time, FIFA 13.
It was unbelievable. It was the smoothest gameplay, pure attacking football, non-stop. The Ultimate Team was by far the best Ultimate Team there was, and the Bundesliga team was cracked, as the kids say these day and age. So I had a Bundesliga team. I had Robin on the right, Ribery/Royce. I intermitted between the two on the left. Lewandowski up front. Piszczek right back. I think it might have been Grosskreutz left back. I think maybe.
Blaszczykowski right mid.
Blaszczykowski sub right mid. Obviously, I got Robin Anta, so he'd come on for the last 5 minutes. But if I'm cutting inside,
Sula and Gundogan down the middle, perhaps.
Oh no, down middle, Gundogan 100%.
Schweinsteiger.
Yes, it would have been Gundogan and Schweinsteiger. Yeah, that's right. And Philip Lahm were floating around there somewhere as well. It was a fucking unbelievable team, and obviously Neuer at net as well. So centre back pairing was GOAT as well. I think it was Hummels and Boateng, and Boateng was like unbelievable on FIFA, fast and strong. But you know that whenever you're cutting inside from that right hand side, Robin left foot every time it's going in that far top corner, and I rinsed and repeated that against Dawson at least 500 times. I think when we played online friendlies, we are Ultimate Team. Co-op piss as well. Can't forget the co-op and all on that. Me and Dawson put some serious hours into co-op. No one really tends to play co-op these days too much, and co-op, we absolutely hammered that. And to this day, the greatest goal I've ever seen scored on any FIFA ever was by me and him. It was Hulk for Brazil, and I think you was on the left side. And I think you crossed
Alex,
it in with
the ex-Chelsea centre-back, Alex, yeah.
Pinged it far side to across pitch to other side at penalty box and left foot volley right in fucking far top stanchion. It was one of the best, was the best goal I've ever scored or ever seen on an Ultimate Team platform. So yeah, FIFA 13 for me holds some unbelievable gaming memories.
Yeah, and you know what as well, FIFA 13, you mentioned, and I completely agree with everything you've just said there, but let's not forget the soundtrack. Us Against the World by Clement Marfo on the front line. Unbelievable track. We got Let It Roll. Come on, baby, let the good times roll. Whoa. Unbelievable. Yeah, the soundtrack, the game, the Ultimate Team. That's when Ultimate Team, you could play it, you could earn coins, and it wasn't just completely fucked by kids using their mum's credit cards. It was proper FIFA. And you know, they say don't be sad that it's over, be glad that it happened. And that's one thing I am glad about for FIFA 13 in particular. But FIFA 13 was a moment in time. It really, really was. I was just finishing college. You know, I was all over it. It was unbelievable. It was a moment in time captured. And for me, there'll never be a better FIFA game than FIFA 13. So Sam, unbelievable shout. Well done from me. I'm going to go next because I'm giving Dawson as much opportunity as I possibly can.
I don't know, mate. I can't.
For him to decide, because while I'm saying this, he'll probably change his mind a couple more times. So I want to build that suspense in his head more than anything else. And for me, it's not a traditional game where you think, oh, you know, it's an NFL game or a FIFA game or something like that. It's a game that quite literally probably changed the entire world. And it's actually a fact. The last time I checked, it's the best-selling game of all time. And that is Wii Sports. Now, when it came out, there was nothing like it when it first came out, Wii Sports. You could play golf in your front room. You could play tennis and boxing in your front room. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't the best. The Joy-Cons and the Wii remotes didn't work 100% of the time, you know, perfectly. But you know what? It was the number one best-selling game in the world ever for a reason. The main reason being is that a free copy came with every Wii console. But you know, it still was. It still was very, very good. And again, it changed the way that people play games. And there's a reason we sold so well. And one of the reasons was Wii Sports. You know, if I said to my granddad or somebody like that, you know, let's have a game of FIFA, you know, he'd sit there and say, well, I don't play game. I don't do that. I don't play computer games. You know, it's Atari or you know, Commodore or whatever was it. You know,
Hopscotch.
Hopscotch. Yeah, that was his game. That was his video game. But Wii Sports changed all that, and he is to this day the only person I've ever seen get a hole in one on Wii Sports Golf.
Nice.
Nice. So shout out to him, and I still go on the Switch Sports these days and do still play a little bit of golf all these years later. I think what must be 16 years later now. So yeah, definitely changed my gaming life and put some hours into that game. So revolutionary. Nobody had ever seen anything like it before, and people are still getting enjoyment from the sort of successor of that game now. So I'm going to go with Wii Sports.
Wii was fucking lethal, absolutely lethal. I remember when it first come out, Jake Green, he got one. He was like one of the first people on the state to get one. So I was always round his ass playing tennis and golf. But that fucking tennis, you forget where you are at times. You think you're at game, and the next minute you're fucking diving, swinging for it, and you're about to put fucking telly through. It's a lethal game. That is.
It is, and you know what? Even now on Switch Sports, I'll have a game against Bland on like bowling and tennis and stuff like that. And if she's beating me, I get so fucking pissed off. I get so into it. It's
I can believe that.
And she's just not bothered. She don't care. She's so laid back. She's just like, whatever. And I'm like, really competitive. But yeah, that's like still from Wii Sports all the way back then.
I've got a follow-up question, but I want an answer from all of you if possible. Obviously, Wii Sports has multiple sports on there. Is it tennis, golf, boxing, and bowling, I think? I don't think there's anything else. Obviously, you like training stuff as well. But if you could get Wii Sports, but you could only play one of the sports for the rest of time and you have to bin the rest, which one are you picking? Sam, we'll go with you first.
Tennis. Definitely tennis.
Aggy?
Bowling.
Kempy?
It was tennis, golf, baseball, boxing, and bowling.
Baseball, yeah.
Baseball in there. Yeah. It doesn't change my answer, it'd be golf. But rather unsurprisingly, surely it'd be golf.
Yeah.
Although I did enjoy the baseball a lot as well. I really did enjoy the baseball as well.
Yeah, baseball. So I'd flip a coin on tennis and bowling. I think I'm really stuck, but maybe bowling, maybe just because you got a bit more out of that. Because I was fucking unreal at tennis. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to ask that as a follow up.
Fair enough. So you've asked your follow up, and now I'm going to sort of Uno reverse card you and ask you, what is your favourite video game of all time? Sports video game of all time.
Yeah. I wish you had asked just video game, mate, because I'd have an answer straight away, and it'd be GTA 5, and we can move on with the day.
We could move on, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really, really struggling.
Just say GTA 5 and then just say it is a sports game because you can play golf on it. And
tennis.
Tennis, yeah.
I did think about adding Tekken Tag Tournament just for the bowling mode on there, but apparently that wasn't applicable, even though I'd say it's combat. But that's by the by. Yeah, I've got so many on my shortlist, lads, and I'm looking at it now thinking, which one do I save to last to say that I'm committing? FIFA 13, unbelievable shout. Completely agree with all points made. LMA Manager 2005, another game. Championship Manager 5, I put up there as my sort of management game, as the one that I've just put hours and hours and hours in there. Snooker on the PS2, a bit of a wild shout, but again, a game that I put so much time in back in the day. Brian Lara Cricket on the PS1, again, I'm just trying to think of games that are hours and hours and hours. Fight Night Round 3, Sam, you're absolutely right to have that as an honourable mention. When we talk about franchise games, obviously we play a lot of Madden. Madden 18 for me was the peak of what it could do and what you could do with that, and it's been downhill ever since. F1, me and Aggy, we played that, or we have done a lot, and 2010 for me was the peak. And I've got two left on my list that I've not mentioned, and I don't know what to go with. I've committed. So,
and I've got an idea in my head what you've gone for.
Athens 2004 is my runner-up. Phenomenal game, just obviously so many different game modes, hours and hours, just again going back to that, so much time put into it. But when I think back, what is the game that I just put untold amounts of time into, build up to get to the end goal or to get to where you want it to be? And for me, it's Virtua Tennis, because we talk about tennis for the Wii and how addictive that was and everything else like that. Virtua Tennis, if we're talking about perfect gameplay and everything else like that, it was just amazing. And again, me and Sam have always mentioned it as a game that back in the day we just put an ungodly amount of hours into. Career mode, building up your player. It was never really deep in terms of what you could do. It was just on the court. It was fucking great to play. So I'll go with Virtua Tennis as a bit of a wild card as my favourite sports game ever.
Fair enough. And to be fair, you've named pretty much every sports game that's ever been.
That's how much I struggled.
You've covered it.
Yeah.
You've covered it well. But do you know what? What is crazy about all these games and all these games that we love so dearly is that one day, lads, we turned off our PlayStation 2s or our Wiis and we never played that game again, which is sad to think of. But let's brighten up the mood, and I'll hand it back to Dawson to reveal the wheel once more and find out whose question we've got next.
It's me, lads. So, Sam, we're saving you to the end, which is probably fair considering your question for the week. But my question for you, lads, is what was your favourite, or I suppose what is your favourite sporting childhood memory? And Sam, I'd like to come to you first for this one.
Yeah, favourite sporting childhood memory. Sat again, giving it a good think. Had plenty back in the day, thinking about England and, a couple of... I watched football a lot as a kid. You've got your treble winners and, all them were going around in my head. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to think of something that's actually personal to me. And it is the very first time that I went to Old Trafford and watched a football game. I was only about, I want to say, about maybe 10 to 12-ish. And my tiny little infant brain just couldn't quite comprehend the scale of the inside of a football stadium like that, and I was just in absolute awe. I walked in, and it was only United at home against Blackburn. United won 3-1. It were a pretty comfortable job. This is going back to, I'm just trying to think what year it would have been. I must have been around about 10. I think it was about 2002. And yeah, it was my first time at Old Trafford, and you walk out, you see the crowd, and you get a bit of breath taken away from you, and it were a moment that I'll never ever forget. And it's it was first time seeing Old Trafford.
Can't argue with that, can you? Like you said, very personal to you. Man United, Blackburn, probably not the biggest game, but to you at the time, it would have meant everything, and it's an unbelievable memory. So, I can't fault that whatsoever. Aggy, favourite sporting childhood memory?
Similar to Sam's, this is one that's quite personal to me. So back in 2003, about 10 days before my 11th birthday, my dad, for a little early birthday treat, took me to what would be my first ever football match that I'd go and watch, which is Chesterfield versus Sheffield United at the then Saltergate in the Kevin Randall testimonial game. And it was the first time I'd ever witnessed, obviously, a football match, obviously the environment, everything that comes with it. I'd seen them all on TV and everything. That game finished 1-0 to Sheffield United, courtesy of Carlos Saba.
Hey, yes, sir, yeah.
I'm chucking that in there for Kemp to just have his little chant about. But yeah, Carlos Saba scored the goal. But in general, like the event itself, I really enjoyed it. So for the following 4 years, we then bought season tickets. We went to the games and that's it. But yeah, it was my first memory. It was my first football game with my dad, and from there on, we went to watch loads, sometimes home and away. So yeah, fell in love with Chesterfield from there.
You poor man.
It could have come away from that a blade, so it could have been worse, eh?
Yeah. It should have learnt in that moment, shouldn't he? Or maybe I should go with these instead. I'll go next. And I'm going to take you back to 1999. A young 9-year-old Skin was going on a very rare summer holiday to Torquay for the week with the family. And I still remember getting there it was around about halfway through the first half of the Manchester United versus Newcastle game, the second leg of their quest to win the treble, the FA Cup final at Wembley, which Man United won 2-0, which then set them up for a midweek game at the Nou Camp against Bayern Munich in the Champions League final to win the treble. Obviously, it being in the evening, I think it was a Wednesday night. I think back in the day when it was midweek before they moved it to a Saturday. And yeah, you know what it's like when you're at a holiday park. You do your stuff in the day, you're in the caravan, and then you go out at night, on the site, entertainment, whatever it was. And I was watching the game while everyone was getting ready. I wasn't getting ready because my eyes were pinned to the telly, which was about that fucking big, back in 1999. Eyes about that far away from it, static in the lot. Mario Basler scored for Bayern Munich about 6 minutes in to give them a very early lead, and it didn't look like it was changing. I was absolutely gutted, sat there with the face on, didn't want to go out and all that kind of usual stuff. And then Teddy Sheringham, of course, came on and equalised right at the end. I went absolutely fucking balmy in the caravan and was about to cry, thinking that, because my mum had just been talking about, right, it's time to go out when this is finished, and thinking that I was going to miss that extra time. But thankfully, she said, we can stay and watch it if you want, so don't worry. So I was like, right, settle in now. And then we know what happened next. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer stuck his right leg out, and the rest is history. We all know what happened there. So, yeah, just an unbelievable moment. I think I about wrecked the caravan after that moment, going from being absolutely fuming, not wanting to go out, to being really excited that I was allowed to stay in the caravan to watch that extra 30 minutes, to not needing it at all. And obviously what happened, one of the biggest sporting moments in UK football and world football history. And, yeah, I still remember it to this day. Sat in a little caravan in Torquay, absolutely miles away from home. Loving life. So for me, that's my favourite childhood sporting memory.
And Solskjaer has won it. United reached the promised land. What a bit of commentary that is.
Oh, Clive Tilsley, the GOAT forever just for that. I had an Old Trafford alarm clock back in the day, probably in my sort of early teenage years.
I remember.
The alarm was that line. So, yeah, waking up to that every single morning for a few years. I wish I still had it now. It was not too long ago, actually. I was on eBay trying to source it out, but seems like it's nowhere to be found, unfortunately. If anyone does come across it, let me know. But yeah, unreal memory, unreal moment. What a game. And of course, completed the treble. So Kempy, we'll come to you, mate, to finish off on my question. What is your favourite sporting childhood memory?
So I'm going to swerve you all on this one. I gave you all a little bit of an indication as to what it might be, but I've changed my mind. I've changed my mind since we've been recording, actually, as well. So we've all talked about personal experiences, and yes, Dawson, you're talking about when you saw something happen live and a really special story. My initial answer was David Beckham's free kick to send England to the Euros, was it, or the World Cup?
For the record, fuming that you've changed your mind, because that's I've thought of another one because that's what I wanted.
I'm sorry. You can still have that one, to be fair, mate. If you want.
You.
Do you want to? Should we just
Honourable, reverse. Honourable mention.
Reverse. Yeah, honourable mention. Sam going to Old Trafford. Sam's number one is Beckham scoring against Greece, and I do apologise, Sam, that I've nicked it, but hopefully I've nicked it for a good reason, and you're happy with the reason why I have. So I've brought a little prop to Loaded Sport tonight, which we never usually do, but this here is a medal, okay? And on there, you probably won't be able to read it, but I'll read what it says to you. It says Sheffield United FC versus Ipswich Town FC, Nationwide League Division 1, home mascot, Friday the 30th of April, 2004.
Nice.
So when I was a young man, 9 years of age, just turned 9, I got a mascot day for my birthday from my dad. And obviously you get there way before the game. It was a night match, to be fair, as well. And obviously it was April, so it was just getting warmer. And the nights were just starting to get a little bit lighter. And you get there well before, you meet all the players. And in 2004, I mean, you can imagine that was prime Warnock, and that was prime squad. That were Morgan, that were Macca, that were Warnock, that were Jags, that were, my team, my golden generation, essentially. Peter Unlove, Paul Pesky Salido, they were all there. My heroes, as it were, back in the day. And obviously I met them all. You go through the changing room, you go out and warm up with them. And you go through the entire process. You've got a stadium tour. You even go on the roof of Bramall Lane into the media boxes, because to get to the media boxes in the gantry, you've got to go on the roof and then down into the gantry. So we even went up there, and it was unbelievable. I still remember it so vividly to this day. And how crazy is that? 19 years ago, that I still remember it so clearly as I do now. But yeah, I was a mascot. I had an unbelievable time. But I think the best thing about it was walking out onto the pitch as a 9-year-old young man in my full Sheffield United kit.
Full kit wanker.
Walking out with Rob Page, Sheffield United captain, Wales manager.
Yes, Robert Page.
Walked out with Robert Page to a full Bramall Lane on a Friday night. It's bringing a tear to my eye, to be fair. I was just remembering it. But scoring a goal past Paddy Kenny in front of the Kop. It was a really, really special night. And I didn't expect to get fucking emotional here, boys, but I have a little bit. Jesus Christ. I've had this in my drawer for ages, and I just leave it there. And it's just
get it out, get it out,
get it on your desk.
Souvenir, but I think it will have to get out, because that's just made me a bit emotional there. So that's mine. I didn't expect to get emotional to that, boy. Didn't even expect this to be my answer, but there you go. That's my favourite.
I think you've just pissed all over all around there.
Yeah, I'm glad I saved him until the end. Brilliant, happy days. Well, Sam.
Right.
You've been first for each of the 2 weeks that we've had this new format, but it is now, for the first time ever, for you to close the show. So I'll leave it with you.
Okay. Right. None of this soppy shit. None of these fucking tears anymore. We're getting down to it. And I've had some bugbears to get off my chest. And I thought, you know what? I even messaged the boys earlier in the week, and I says, you know what, just scrap my segment. I'm just going to use it purely to fucking vent about something. And then I thought, no, fuck that. I want to hear what they want to vent about as well. So my question is, what is something in the world of sport that you would like to vent about this week? So, but not something that's happened this week, just what would you like to vent about? Mine has to be the Green Bay fucking Packers, because Jesus Christ, we are shit. And just, I got this, I can't get my words out. This was directly after the recent loss Sunday to the Denver fucking Broncos. Denver Broncos are an absolute shit show. Left a couple of notes in here. It was about 1 in the morning. I couldn't sleep. I thought, right, I'm just going to start writing notes out about it. 6 first half points in the last 4 games. 6 first half points in the last 4 games. That is absolutely unbelievable. We are currently 32nd in the league in offense in the first half, right? We are first in the league in offense in the second half. So that, to me, tells me that our play callers are a biggest pile of fucking shit that are going at the minute, because we've clearly got the players that can make the plays because they're doing it in the second half. Why the fuck can't they call them plays in the first half when we're not 17-20 down at half time? So that's one. That's my first big. We're just getting shut out all the time at half time. Last 4 games, as I say, 6 points. Made a really fucking poor Broncos team look good. Just looking through a couple of notes here, because it has been a while since I read them. Came into the game dead last in a load of defensive categories. This was the Broncos, and again we lost 2 of them, which is just unacceptable. We've got a wide receiver, Christian Watson, that has got all the ability in the world to become a number 1 receiver in the league, and is made of fucking paper. Again, he went down injured right at the end of the game, and it looks like he might be missing an extended period of time. We've only just got him back. He missed like the first 4 games through injury as well, so that's brilliant. Injuries all over to our defence. Our strength and conditioning coach, we've had the same strength and conditioning coach for about the last 20 years, it seems like. Whenever we have a different set of coaching staff, they always stay. It's always them that stay there, and they're absolutely useless. Little stupid soft tissue injuries like hamstrings, something that we know hamstring injuries are just from pulls, sprints, and it's something that you can kind of negate if you're practicing and stretching right before a game, which is something that they're clearly not fucking doing. We've got a very young offensive line, which shows we've got no leadership whatsoever. I said in the off-season on this very podcast that we needed a veteran wide receiver, and this is what's coming back to haunt us now. We've got a bunch of rookies and second-year players at wide receiver, and they've just got no leaders whatsoever. I seen one pass, I think it was the game-ending interception that Love threw, and straight away I says, that's on Love. That's a fucking shocking decision. Matt LaFleur's come out afterwards and said, no, that's his fault. He shouldn't have tried getting all the yards in one go. And then someone else, Kurt Benkert, which is a really fucking deep dive. None of you have ever even heard of him. He was the Packers' 3rd-string quarterback about 2 or 3 years ago. We cut him, and he's fizzled around the league. He's played backup, essentially, for about 6 different NFL teams. And now he's released a book about what it's like being an NFL quarterback and, a journeyman sort of thing. Really interesting stuff. And he seems to have got a bit of a soft spot for Green Bay, and he's quite opinionated on us. And he's saying these sort of throws just aren't on Jordan Love. He said a veteran receiver we was on like the probably 45-ish, and Jordan's gone straight deep shot into the end zone, corner end zone. It's been picked off, game over. He was saying that a veteran receiver would know because it was slightly underthrown. So I guess that is a partial bit of his fault. But because the ball was slightly underthrown, the receivers are told to work through towards the ball because the defender's going to make contact then. It's a flag and it's pass interference. Apparently, it's just absolute 101 receiver knowledge that everyone should know to do that, and you're going to get a flag every single time. And they didn't do it. They kept fighting for the ball, kept running, didn't stop his run, and the defender picked it off. So stupid things like that. And I thought, you know what, this is getting absolutely ridiculous. We've lost to 50% of the AFC West so far this year, and just for reference, it's the fucking worst part of the AFC West we've already lost to. So we've lost to Denver, we've lost to the Raiders, we've got the Chargers, and we've got the fucking Patrick Mahomes led Indianapolis Colts. Patrick Mahomes led Kansas City Chiefs. Mate, I can't get my words out.
Blockbuster trade.
Yeah, so we've got them games to come. We've got Vikings at the weekend. Normally, I'd be quite confident. I always fancy us against the Vikings. This week, I have got no fucking expectation whatsoever. So, yes, that I feel so much better for airing that off because we're shit. We need to improve. Matt LaFleur, for me, is on the cusp. He needs to book his ideas up, or he needs to go. Same as in above him, Brian Gutekunst. And that the state of the Packers at the minute is not good. In a franchise like that, someone like Tina, I know he'll turn around and say, "Oh, woe is me! You've had 2 franchise quarterbacks. I've got no sympathy for you." But the fact of the matter is, I hold my franchise in a higher regard than the fucking Chicago Bears. We're a perennial Super Bowl contending team, and to see our team being run like this, it's just not good enough. So that's my rant for this week. And Dawson, I'll pass it over to you, mate.
Well, I suppose my first follow-up question is we're a long way off from the off-season, and I'm going to guess that you've got no sort of hopes when it comes to a playoff run of any kind. So is it just a case of sit and wait it out, or are there things that you think could or should happen over this short term, let's say next 2 or 3 weeks, that could get some kind of instant improvement? Are there free agents out there? Is it looking for a trade? Is it making that mid-season back office move? Like what do you think is a potential short-term improvement?
I believe the trade deadline's just ended. I believe the trade deadline ended this week, did it not? So I think
thought it was a bit later in the season.
I'm sure next week.
Is it next week? I thought it
on week 8.
Week 8. Okay, fair enough. So maybe we have got some time to make some trades in, but we need a veteran receiver. That's one thing we absolutely need. So I don't know how we'd go about it. I know we're strapped for cash, and I get that. Obviously, we're still carrying the boatload of Rodgers' old contract. David Bakhtiari's hamstringing us, so I get that we're in a really tough position, and I get that it is kind of a rebuilding year, but we've got so much talent on that roster. On defense, we've got like 9 of the 11 first round picks. There's no excuse for it. We're stacked in defense with first round picks. These players should be playing better. Our run defense, years and years, has been poor. I'd love to see us get a run stuffer, a Vita Vea or someone like that. That'll be an unbelievable signing for us. So we've got to make some moves. If we're not going to make some moves, this season's done. It's a matter of just seeing what we've got in Love. He's got a full season to show us. One thing that Brian Gutekunst did do in the off-season, which was probably the best thing is done recently, is instead of picking up Jordan Love's 5th-year option, he declined the 5th-year option and signed him to a 1-year contract, which is, I've never really seen that before, and I thought it was a really clever move. So we're not paying him too much, obviously. So it's just a see what you've got kind of year with us. Offensive line's in trouble. We need some veteran presence on the offensive line. So I thought the trade deadline had gone, I must admit, but yeah, if the trade deadline is next Tuesday, I want to see us making some moves, because it's not good enough what I've seen so far this year.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, if things aren't getting better in Green Bay, at least you feel better for getting it off your chest, mate. Who would you like to go to next for their rant of the week, I suppose we'll call it?
Yeah, I'll go with you, mate. I was going to throw it to you there, so I'll stick with you.
Yeah, fair enough. I've struggled this week, lads, big time with my answers. Originally, if we were recording this, or if you'd have asked this question for last week, I probably would have gone for the state of the New England Patriots. But then they decided to go and beat the Buffalo Bills last Sunday, so I feel like it's the wrong time to sort of lay into them. And Definitely. Then I thought, what's the sort of Glazers? That's sort of the generic one. But then I thought, well, we've spoke about it, and I'm only going to say what everyone else is saying, so it feels like a bit of wasted time. Then you mentioned Anthony, the Manchester United player, and for me, he's one of the worst players I've ever seen in a Manchester United shirt. But I won't go into it, because then otherwise I'm using my time to rant about him. But up until sort of this time last night, it was going to be my opinion of Anthony in the Manchester United team. But then I was watching Newcastle versus Dortmund in the Champions League last night, and Sandro Tonali came on, and obviously they alluded to the fact that he was probably going to be out for a while after that game, not stating specifically why. And then I was like, right, I'm on the path now. So this fucking gambling bollocks in football, lads, right? Obviously, even Tony is about 2.5 months away from returning from an 8-month ban. Apologies for keep looking away. I've got some notes. So Ivan Tony is about 2.5 months away from returning from an 8-month ban. Sandro Tonali, as we know in the news at the moment, is looking like he's about to be hit with a 10-month ban from all competitions and all football. And I think it is absolute hypocrisy and absolute fucking bollocks that we're in this position, because the English Football League at the moment is sponsored by Sky Bet and has been for a number of years now. 8 out of the 20 current Premier League clubs, which is 40%, are sponsored by a gambling company on the front of their shirt. You put any football on, and the advertisements around the ground, advertisements during halftime, everything else has some kind of gambling company plastered all over it. At the university, I didn't catch which one, but in 2020, when I was trying to do a bit of research for this, did a study on 5 televised games, and it showed that there was a gambling reference every 21 seconds, whether that was an advert, whether that was something showing up on the pitch, whether that was a sponsor on the front of the shirt. 21 seconds on average, a gambling company was referenced or shown. So from 2026 to 27 season, there will be no more shirt sponsors on the front of Premier League club shirts. That doesn't fall down to the AFL, it's just purely Premier League. But they're still allowed these side sleeve sponsors that are now all the craze. They're still allowed gambling companies there. I'm just trying to find, and also on the sideline as well. So around the pitch, they can still have gambling sponsors, the gambling companies sponsor them there. And it's just baffling me a little bit. So, like I said there, Ivan Toney, 8-month ban, 232 breaches and a £50,000 fine, which, let's be honest, cost him his spot in the World Cup last year. It came out within, a couple of days of the squad announcement.
Another example of why Southgate's a liar, by the way, because at the time he said that it was nothing to do with it, and now he says it. Yeah, he admits it, that's the reason why. So, fuck that cunt, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Then there's your weekly Gareth Southgate mention. So there we go. He did bet 13 times on his own team to lose, which granted isn't great, but he didn't play in any of those games. So again, it's not great, but it's not like he was on the pitch, actively affecting the result. Sandro Tonali, like I mentioned, he's set eminently pretty much for a 10-month ban, which will mean he'll miss the rest of the season and Euro 2024 should Italy make it. And it would have been a 3-year ban if it wasn't for the fact that he's cooperating with the people investigating it to say, this is what I've done, this is where I've done it, this is what I've done, and everything else like that. For me, again, I can go on and on and on and on and on, but it just screams hypocrisy. And what the fuck else are you meant to do? Like, I don't get it. I understand there's rules in place. I understand there's regulations in place. But if players are betting on things that they're not involved in, so leagues they're not involved in, games they're not involved in, like, just seriously, what is the issue? And then it's fair enough to say, right, well, we don't want you doing that. But then to have all these gambling stuff involved and all these companies that are absolutely plastered all over this product, I really, really, really do not fucking get it. And if any of you lads have got any answers to it or any defence of any of that I've just said, then please, I'm open and welcome to hear it. Because when you look at the bans that are being handed out, again, Tonali, a 3-month ban if he'd not cooperated. But then everything else that's going with that, like I said, 40% of Premier League teams currently sponsored on the front of their shirt by a gambling company. It's fucking outrageous. But there's my rant, there's my vent, and yeah.
Just for a bit of further context, sorry, Sam. I don't exactly know what the breaches were from Ivan Toney. I don't exactly know what the breaches were from Sandro Tonali. I don't know every single bet that they made, and I don't know what bets they made them on. I know there were times where I think Ivan Toney, and I think I've heard this, but correct me if I'm wrong, that he did bet on some aspect of a Brentford game.
Yeah, so he bet 13 times on Brentford to lose, but in each of the, not for one of those games was he playing. It was when he was out injured. I know. But... And like I said, it's not great, but again, 13 times, he's not actively, if he's on the pitch, fair enough, Banks rights ban him, but it's just the hypocrisy of it all when...
But then how deep do you go? Because then you say, well, he might have, gone extra hard in someone in training so that they might not have been fully fit for the game, so that they will have lost, and then he'd been a bet on losing. I think it's too risky. I think that is wrong, and I think it's right that Ivan Toney has been banned for betting on Brentford to lose. I completely agree with you for the record in that if I play for Sheffield United and I'm betting on Man United to win, and I'm not playing against Man United or whatever, then I really don't see an issue with it. I think the problem is they're betting anywhere near your team or the opposing team on that day. I think it's just a little bit too risky, and I can understand why.
And I don't necessarily disagree with that. I don't necessarily agree with that side
of
it.
Apart from that, I do agree in that if you're going to plaster it everywhere, it's not really right to plaster it everywhere and then say to all footballers you're not allowed to gamble because you're plastering it everywhere. So make your mind up, sort of thing. So I do get it in that respect.
Yeah, I think that's the answer in it. I think for me, there just shouldn't be any gambling sponsorships in football. I think that'd be a pretty quick fix. I think without gambling money, I think there's going to be another company that's going to willing to step up and give that club, money. So I don't see a club missing out potentially on finances. I'm with Kemp, definitely with the betting on Ivan Toney. I think if you're betting around your club, I think that's very murky. Even if you're not playing, I think the fact that he's not playing it shows that the odds are Brentford were probably going to lose that game just for the fact that their star number 9's not there. So I think it's kind of a bit of a insider trading sort of, gambling on Wall Street sort of thing. I think that kind of plays into it.
So very quickly, if I can jump in on that. So Kieran Trippier was banned for 10 matches because he'd given sort of friends and family insider info on a transfer. I think it was the one from from Tottenham to Atletico Madrid when he made that move. He basically told friends and family, look, this is happening, lump on it if you can. And obviously they did, and he received a 10-match ban. So for me, you talk about insider knowledge and things like that. Where's the line? Like a 10-match ban for something that I would say is outright insider knowledge to, an 8-month ban and a 10-month ban, which would have been a 3-year ban if he'd have not cooperated. It again, where's the consistency? Where's the line? We're talking about where the line is and what isn't or isn't, but a clear incident or example of someone giving that really big insider knowledge for people to benefit, and it was a 10-match ban. it just doesn't sit right with me in the slightest.
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. There's a hell of a lot of hypocrisy in it. I'm more in the camp of footballers probably not being able to bet. I think it's easy enough to just draw a line under it. And I think betting on your team, comes a bit murky. And just think if footballers, let's be fair, they make a hell of a lot of money. It's not like they're missing out on any money, or they don't need to be gambling money.
Yeah. I think some of it is boredom, though.
100%.
We know where the gambling addictions come in, and players like Paul Merson have spoken out very, very honestly and about their issues with gambling. And look, we can again go back to what you said earlier, Sam. Like, oh, woe is me, poor me. I'm playing football and getting paid a fair whack. Like, there is some boredom and things that go with that. We all like a gamble, and we're not involved in the game, so we're all busy people. So when you're sat at home for an afternoon and not really much going on, and you load up Bet365 and there's an horse race and then there's this, like, I can understand why those things happen, especially when you're seeing it here, there, and everywhere in your day-to-day job. So I do think that despite the money they make, there should be some sympathy there with some of the things that they might have going on, or one of the reasons why they end up doing it.
Yeah, Kemp, you want to go next?
Yeah, for me, I was close to saying Southgate, to be fair. I really was. I've ranted about him for so long that I thought, I've got a chance to rant now. I'm going to use this time to rant about him.
I just cut something from a previous episode and edited it.
Might as well have.
It's going to be Dawson mentioning Brady, isn't it? This is going to be all rant.
Yeah. No, it was a close second, I must admit. My rant is about boxing. It's not anything in particular that's happened recently. Not anything in particular that's happening in the future. It's just boxing as a sport is fundamentally broken, and it pisses me off so much, because when the fighters are in the ring and they're ready to fight, it's close to MMA for me. It's not quite, but it's close to MMA for me. The excitement levels, the buzz, the atmosphere, the boxing events themselves, unbelievable, and they're always put on brilliantly well, or for the most part, taking Boxer and Sky Sports out of that. For the most part, they're put on really well, and it gets you really up for the fight. And obviously, I'm a massive combat sports fan, so boxing is primarily, very, very entertaining to me, and I do enjoy watching the fights. However, I've mentioned this before in episodes of Kempy's Combat Corner, in that it's everything else that goes into boxing. It's the 4-5 different world title belts that you could potentially win in boxing. It's all the different promoters. It's ducking fights against people because you don't want to lose your undefeated record. It's people like Anthony Joshua having 20 fights. The first 20 fights of his career, or first 15 fights of his career, were all against bin men and bus drivers. It's for me. It's just, I understand why they do it, because the money in boxing is so much greater than it is, let's say, for example, in MMA, because of the way that the boxing's structured. But ultimately, boxing, in terms of a sport, was organised and was set up by organised criminals back in the day. That's how boxing was initially set up, and it's never changed. Nothing's changed since then. You've got the WBA, WBC, the IBF, the WBO, and the Ring Magazine World Championships. They've got 5 world championships for one weight division, and I just, how can you call yourself a world champion if there's 4 other of you that have done the exact same thing? So again, it's so frustrating to me that we've got 4 world heavyweight champions at the moment in certain different guises. We've got Mahmoud Shah, who's the WBA regular champion. We've got Zhili Zhang, who's the WBO interim champion, and then Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk. We've got 3 different holders of the cruiserweight belts. We've got Canelo Alvarez, to be fair, bless him, as unified super middleweight, so that's not a problem. We've got 4 different holders of middleweight belts. It's so broken, and I think not just with the belt situation, with the promoter situation, but I think it's been brought to our attention a little bit more this year with the fact that Fury was fighting AJ, then he wasn't fighting AJ. Fury was fighting Usyk, then he wasn't fighting Usyk. AJ was fighting Wilder, then he wasn't fighting Wilder. And now we've been left with AJ's got no fight, Usyk's got no fight, Wilder's got no fight, and Tyson Fury's fighting somebody that's never boxed in their life. So
Usyk Fury are fighting now, aren't they? Signed, apparently.
Apparently
Sam.
being the key word there.
Apparently.
There's your thumbnail there. That's Kemp there. That's thumbnail there. See that, innit?
Sam, you know boxing better than that. And this is exactly what I mean. Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk have signed to unify the heavyweight division, to unify all the belts. And I'm not excited. Like, I can't get excited because Fury might turn around one day and say, you don't fancy it. And this is the problem, is that the heavyweight division is being held to ransom by Tyson Fury at this moment in time. And because the fighters have got so much power, and there's no power for the British Boxing Board of Control, there's no power for any governing body because it's all completely fragmented and split, that he can just do whatever the fuck he wants. He's fighting Francis Ngannou. Bless Francis. I love him to bits. He's never had a fucking boxing match in his entire life. And he's fighting the WBC champion of the world, and it goes even deeper than that. So, yeah, I think there are strides that have been made. But I think on top of that, one of the most concerning things health-wise is drug testing within boxing. It's a fucking shit show. It's an absolute shit show. It's non-existent. And when it does happen, even if somebody does test positive for steroids, not mentioning any names, Conor Benn, he can just fight anyway. So what's the point? So it's dangerous. It's really, really fucked up in every single way, is boxing, and it's such a shame because it's a sweet science. It's a beautiful sport, and unfortunately, it's been wrecked by the structure of it, the history of it, and the complete lack of regard and drug testing, because it's all about greed and money. So it's a shame.
It's funny you mentioned about Usyk and Fury, and believing it when you see it. I seen a bit of noise earlier today. I was just watching a couple of YouTube videos, and apparently Usyk's come out and said he needs an extended camp to get ready. I think he's saying something about he wants 12 weeks or something, which is quite. It might have been 16 actually. It was something ridiculous. And whatever date it was, I think Fury's got in his head they've agreed the 23rd of December. I think that's like the kind of written in pencil date. Yeah. And Fury's got in his head that he is fighting that day, and if it doesn't happen on that day, he's not fighting. So you can already see the split coming.
See what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I've seen it today. It's funny you say that.
And let me give you a really good example, right, as to how MMA and the UFC in particular shits all over it, right? So the other day, it was announced that John Jones had torn his pectoral muscle, the heavyweight champion of the world, tore his pectoral muscle completely off the bone, and therefore he won't be fighting Stipe Miocic on the 11th of November at UFC 295, okay? And that's for the World Heavyweight Championship, the UFC World Heavyweight Championship on that date, okay? Now, Dana White's not said, oh, we'll try and rearrange it, or Stipe, will you please still fight, or pandering to these fighters like these fucking boxing promoters do. Do you know what's happened? Do you know what they've done? Right, John, you're not fit. Go. Stipe, do you want this fight or not? No, I don't. Right, fuck off. The heavyweight division is going to have an interim champion now. It's going to be Sergey Pavlovich against the UK's Tom Aspinall. Boom, done, sorted. No dispute, no issue. Yeah, it's a shame that John Jones has pulled out, but Tom Aspinall and Sergey Pavlovich, they've signed to the fight now. They can't get out of it just because they feel like pulling out. They are contracted and signed to the fight, and they want to fight. And that's the difference between boxers and MMA fighters. They don't want it, and it pisses me off like you've never known.
It's a fair point.
Should have said.
Shout out to Tom Jones.
Aggy will be happy with that.
Oh yeah.
Sam, your question, mate. We've got one more man.
Oh, I've been quite looking forward to this because Aggy finishes off, mate.
Yeah, I've been going back to the football side of things, and I think this is something that we have in the past touched on ever so slightly, and that is football ownership within the football pyramid in general, not necessarily just within the Premier League, but all the way down. And the due diligence that needs to be done and improved from the FA to make sure that owners of football clubs are suitable to become owners. And I've got a couple of examples here. It's not just these that are examples, but they're just some of them that's taken place in the last 10 years. Yeah, Sam, they are one of them. Derby County, of course, were put into administration not too long ago. And of course, you've fallen to League One. Bolton, Wigan have been in that situation as well. Macclesfield, they've had to restart from the bottom. So have Bury, who of course were expelled from the Football League in 2019. Oldham, Chesterfield, Notts County all fell out of the Football League through poor ownership. Southend and Scunthorpe are currently sat at week to week as to whether they're even going to be a football club for the remainder of this season because of poor ownership.
Southend have just been bought out, aren't they? And the fans seem quite happy with who it is that's taken away with it.
I think the issue with Southend is it's not quite being completed yet, so they're a little bit worried about it. But hopefully for Southend fans, as to be fair, I am a little bit of a Southend fan. Hopefully that does get sorted out soon. Yeah, what a boy.
Hopefully there'll be light at the end of the tunnel for them. But yeah, in general, it's something that I think is becoming more common over the last decade or so, and I think there's not been enough done to make sure that people that are coming in as owners are suitable and intelligent enough to be able to become owners of a football club, because it isn't a sport anymore, is it? We know it's becoming a business, and as it stands, it's a poorly run business altogether, isn't it? So yeah, my rant. I'm not going to be as what's the word? Is
animated,
intense as you guys. Yeah, it's just a bit of an issue.
It's not your nature, mate. It's not your nature.
Not, mate. Not at all. No, it's just a bit of an issue with how football's been run from certain football clubs as well. And obviously, I've been subject to that. I tried to leave Skin out of it a little bit because I don't know if his counts as a Chesterfield fan and was with us at this point. But
no, I wasn't, mate. Yeah, I was actually on about him today, though. Funnily enough, but I wasn't really paying much attention at the time.
So he did the same sort of thing with Sheffield Wednesday, where he took them and tried to get them as high as possible, but then pulled all funding and decided just to fund the shortcomings to make sure the club didn't have to fold completely, but waited for...
Is that Big Dejpan Chansiri?
No, it's Dave Allen.
Oh, Dave Allen. That's all right. Dejpan Chansiri is doing exactly the same thing to Wednesday at the minute, and I can't rate him highly enough.
And then Dave Allen obviously did the same with us, got us in a lot of debt, just paid up the shortcomings and saw us fall from League One playoffs to the National League with consecutive relegation.
Well, Dave, have a bit of sun on me.
Done you a solid there, hasn't he? But I just think there needs to be more done to make sure that the finances involved with owners can allow clubs to succeed or at least be stable enough, as opposed to taking over just as like a little bit of a... I don't even know what the word is that I'm trying to find, to be fair. Not nostalgia. It's go on.
No, I know. It's just, you're absolutely right. It's called the fit and proper owner test, isn't it? That the EFL and the governing bodies do, and it's an absolute disgrace in the checks they do. They kind of do a false check just to see if they've got any kind of finances to back them and seeing where the money's coming from. And that's a potential. That's pretty much it. The whole check they're doing. I mean, I know firsthand, obviously, as a Derby fan, as you say, we went right through the shit. 2 years ago, Chris Kirchner. Remember that twat?
Yeah,
Chris Kirchner. I
was waiting for it.
Obviously, I should be bashing Mel Morris when we're talking about owners, and I've had my fair share of doing that. One of the worst owners in football history. He sold Pride Park to himself, to his third-party business, and we're still dealing with that shit now. But yeah, Chris Kirchner, absolute fraud, comes along, looks like he's what they call it, a false prophet and a hero, and all the Derby fans clamouring for Chris Kirchner because it looked like we were going down at the time, it looked like we were going under at the time, and this guy comes along and... it turns out it were all smoke and mirrors. He wasn't paying his own company back in America, and he was turning out to all these golf events and shit like that. And people were asking him what's going on, what's the latest for the takeover, and it was radio silent for about 40 days. Right when he was named the preferred bidder, and he was about to take the club. It was taking pictures of himself pitch side at Pride Park, saying my new digs essentially, and then eventually it all went crumbling down. And what I'm getting at is he passed the EFL fit and proper owners test, so they deemed him worthy to take over the club, and not 2-3 months later, his company went under. So that just shows you firsthand how fucking pathetic that test is, and you're 100% right, and I'll back you 100% on this. It's a very valid rant or grievance that you do have, because it is a disgrace at the minute, the testing of these new owners.
So just to ask you a question on that then. For Aggy and obviously for Sam as well, obviously you feel passionate about it at the same time. What is the solution?
What you mean to the fit and proper owners test?
What's the solution to make sure that Mel Morris, the Bury owner, the Macclesfield owner, that the Southend owner, that these people can't do what they've been doing to these football clubs? What's the solution to stop that from happening?
Ag, do you want to take this first, mate, seeing as we are grievance?
Yeah, I think it's more like, the finance aspect. Can they afford to fund the football club, first of all? Like Sam mentioned.
But I'd just come in very quickly on that before you carry on. When Dave Allen took over at Chesterfield, there was no concern as to whether he could afford that or not. A very, very wealthy man, right?
No.
Dave Allen started as a very, very good owner for Chesterfield. And then in the end, that's when it went to shit. So how do you stop that? Because making sure they've got money doesn't stop that, unfortunately.
No, you're absolutely right, which will bring me on to the next point I was moving on to down the line as an example for Dave Allen. Is he's got history of doing that, and that's where his would come in. And I get, you've got to have owned a club first to have had that sort of history, but that's where you need to find out there's genuine interest within owning that football club or that business, not that it's just a novelty. And I know it's sometimes difficult to do, but I think they need to step it up and add more questions in there, more lines of questioning to potential owners to make sure that there is a general interest in purchasing a football club for the better and not just for a short-term period.
I think another couple of ideas as well. I think there needs to be a general kind of protection and safety net over the entire, maybe 92, maybe once you're in the Football League, you might get this protection. All 92 clubs agree. You're going to the top end, the Premier League's got a hell of a lot most money. If there's some kind of safety net and protection of when an owner kind of fails, there might be something there just to save the club from going under. That could be an avenue. But like Aggy says, just a couple of more safeguarding questions. If they have owned a club previously and ran into the ground, straight red, you don't get a second chance at it. And I did have another suggestion there, but I have completely forgot about that. But fines as well. That's what I was going to say. So for these owners, so take Mel Morris. He absolutely ran the club into the ground. He pumped a load of money into it up front. We didn't get the promotion to the Premier League, and then he kind of says, "Whoa, that's me done now. I've done everything I can," and just completely pulled all his funds out of the club. He then walked out road scot-free, and he were done. No repercussions whatsoever, and left a club essentially on the brink of fucking dissolvency. So there has to be some kind of fine for that person, whether he's the chairman or not. He needs to be financially responsible for that club legally. Yeah. I think if you're willing to sign your name to a club and put that community in peril. If Derby County went fucking bust, that whole community in Derby, that's going to massively suffer on game day on Saturdays, 3:00, and someone needs to be responsible for that. So I think if you're signing a club, you take that responsibility on that. If you're going to be negligent, then you will pay for it, whether you're the owner or not. Going forward, I think that's the sort of penalty you'd be looking at.
Yeah, no, and that's fair enough. And I think that is something that you definitely need to look at. But how that's structured and stuff would be very difficult, I suppose, to put together. And I think the biggest thing you mentioned there was protection. Right, that's the biggest thing for me. I think there needs to be something that needs to be done. As you say, Sam, for all of the 92 clubs, and maybe a certain element of protection for the National League clubs as well. Apart from Chesterfield, don't give a shit about them. But to make sure that if they do get ran into the ground, if they do get put out of business or whatever, that the Football League or the FA, you do something to protect these clubs. Because like you say, it's not just about the football. It's not just about the players' salaries, because they can go and earn a wage somewhere else, most probably. It's about the community. It's about the lifeblood of the community. And I know if Sheffield United went belly up tomorrow, yes, there's still another club in Sheffield, but I think Sheffield FC would get a big turnout because, they're
not going to Blues, are they?
Absolutely not. There'd be a massive gap in South Sheffield. So, I completely agree with that. But, yeah, with the way football is at the minute, I think we can all agree that's probably not likely to happen.
And I get there's an easy counter argument to that. People are going to say, obviously, owners will be quite negligent if they know that there's a safety net for a club. They can spend whatever they want or as little as they want, and there's not much repercussion for the chairman to run the club well if there is this kind of overarching safety net between the league. But as I say, if you attach a fine or a fucking prison sentence for all I fucking care to these owners, some of them fucking deserve it. Let's be fair. But if you attach a hefty fine, a couple of £1 million fine for running a club into ground like that, then I think that's a pretty decent fix.
Yeah, I get on board with that. I think a couple of £1 million fine for everybody in the 91, and then for Sheffield Wednesday, I think we paid Edgepond Chancery a couple of £1 million to take them under. That'll do me.
Aggy, I think you fell onto quite a decent subject there when it came to ranting about something in the football world. So fair play, lads. Any other further questions or anything before we close the book on episode 74?
What do you reckon to Derby top?
Oh, it's lovely. It's a lovely number.
Nice,
I like the collar. collar.
So I like that little white sleeves and all.
Yeah, time for that.
I do like that. A bit retro-y, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
I do like it. Yeah, I like it a lot. Yeah, I think weekends, Dawson. To be fair, I think there's nothing else. No further business.
I think that's where we're at. So yeah, lads, this weekend, what we got planned, Kempy? I'm going to come to you, mate, because I know you've got some pretty tasty, spicy plans this weekend. Love is in the air.
Oh, it certainly is, yeah. And Golden Lotus, I think, tomorrow night, if I can hopefully get that booked in.
Golden Lotus?
You're going to be driving around Derbyshire for a long while finding that one, mate.
What's it called?
You'll do well finding that one. It's Lotus Lounge.
Oh, it's the same thing, isn't it? I knew there were Lotus in there somewhere. I nearly said Exige. Go on. Golden Lotus, find me.
I don't know if you know where Millom is, Millm. double LOM. I've never heard of it before, but they've got a Chinese takeaway called Golden Lotus.
Where is it? Fucking Dusseldorf or something like that?
No, it's right up. It's right up in the anus of the Lake District. It's
nice.
It's over 3 hours away.
So, I'll tell you we're going away.
Yeah.
Going away.
Anyway,
so Lotus Lounge. Apologies to anybody at the Lotus Lounge. Please still sponsor Loaded Sport if you can. Hopefully tomorrow night. And as I was saying, Golden Lotus there, I knew it was wrong, but I didn't care. So Lotus Lounge hopefully tomorrow night, and then Saturday, as you mentioned there, Dawson, love is in the air. My father-in-law is getting married to his partner of 14, 15 years, I think. So that's going to be a nice little thing. Yeah, you'd say so.
Sam that.
Yeah. At least.
The nerve, the fucking nerve.
So that'll be a nice little do. And then on Sunday, I'm back on the golf course, boys. We're back.
Ooh,
We're back on the golf
year.
Course on Sunday. Oh, yeah. All year round, baby, as long as we can. Sunday morning, got a nice little tea time. And then Sunday afternoon, I believe, clocks go back on Sunday. So we got an early red zone. We've got an early red zone. We've got a big dinner and a nice relax before we go back to work on Monday. So, yeah, decent little weekend coming up. What about you, Dawson? I'm going to go you second, do you reckon?
Ooh, is it? Nice. I don't actually know, mate. I've got next to nothing planned, mate, and I can't wait. Talking about it earlier, I think Saturday I'll be watching the football. Going to be made to watch Newcastle because they're the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday, so I'll be watching them. And I think we've got a little tiffin planned for tea on Saturday.
Nice.
And then Sunday is literally locked door, comfy clothes on, not fucking move. Manchester Derby into it on Sunday, so watch that. And then
it is.
Best red zone of the year. Starting at 5:00, so that's going to be a phenomenal Sunday evening, and I'm going to make a little dinner myself. Rumours are on the forum; they're saying or suggesting a potential steak pie dinner on Sunday evening. So looking forward to that.
Hearty,
but we'll confirm.
Classic,
So looking forward to
classic October food, you'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be a weekend of hardly moving from the sofa, watching loads of telly and sport, and I for one cannot wait. So should be a good one there. Aggy, what have you got planned, mate? Are you commentating this weekend, or have you got a nice little break?
I am, mate. I've got my very first Sunday afternoon game, which is Aston Villa versus Luton, kicking off at 2:00, which will lead me up nicely to.
Got to get some heavy traffic listening to that. Super Sunday.
With the Manchester Derby, similar sort of time, isn't it? I think as well.
Half three.
Yeah. So, Aston Villa Luton at 2:00, and then that'll finish about 4-ish, which will give me a nice little hour to prepare myself for the early red zone, as you guys have already mentioned. As for Saturday, just chill and do nothing. Enjoy the fact that I've got a Saturday off. I think Phoebe will be at dance school, but other than that, just do fuck all.
Like it, mate. Sounds fantastic. Put I'd say Jeff and the boys, but it's Simon and the boys and a girl now, isn't it? So put Simon and the boys and a girl on at 3:00, mate, and watch the results come in. Go on, Kemp. You quickly came off.
Shit on my hands, Gaffer, on that one. Have you seen it recently? Have you seen it?
It's so bad, isn't it?
Bad.
I tell you what, the worst bit about it is I can
deal
with the panel.
Was she?
No. I can deal. Simon Thomas, fantastic host. He's it's ever going to be Jeff.
No.
What the fuck is Mike Dean doing in that corner of the studio? Get him.
Do you know what?
Right, we're restarting the rant.
No, do you know what would be good though? Is if TNT got their checkbook out and said,
no brainer, by the way, no brainer.
Jeff, Paul Merson, Charlie Nicholas,
Phil
Alan,
Thompson.
what's his name? Phil Thompson, that's him.
Maybe not Matt Letizia.
Maybe not Matt Letizia. He's doing a fucking nut job these days. But you get those four on TNT Sports.
No brainer. Absolutely.
They're making a fortune if they do that.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam, what you got planned for the weekend, mate?
So my weekend, well, I won't say starting now, but it's not because I've got work tomorrow. But tonight, after I log off here, I am going to go do some swimming. So get a nice little bit of exercise in before bed.
Got a quick question for you about that, Sam, if that's all right.
No, we'll carry on, mate. We'll keep moving. Then I'll be doing shopping on Friday. Pretty boring. Saturday, I'm going to watch Derby at 3 p.m. Not going, obviously. It's just through the Rams TV. Saturday night, I am going round to Katie's Works Katie's workmate's house. I got it. There we go. There we go. They're a married couple, and we are going to be dropping keys in bowl. We are going to.
I was
watching...
about to say it. I was waiting.
I had to get it. I got it in before you did. I knew you or Kemp would be saying it. We're going to watch the. Nah, he's too shy.
Traditional man.
None of that.
Fucking missionary, and they're on his back and him on top.
He likes to get his monogamy on, doesn't he? He's not done that.
We're going to watch. Polyamorous once and thought it were a disease, so he
thought it were a ringtone. We're going around to watch the boxing. Obviously, Fury, Ngannou. I was going to watch it at home, but obviously we did get the invite, so we're going to go around there, watch takeaway, have a couple of beers. So nice, steady Saturday night. I had a quick look at the menu. I got Katie to find out where we're ordering from today. A place called Taj in.
I bet you're ordering from the Golden Lotus.
Yeah, that one and all. We'll be waiting there all night, like. But
he's ordering before he goes swimming at Shabir in time for Saturday.
Yeah, I don't even know about that.
Quick question about that, Dawson.
Taj, and they do a whole range of Indian food and kebabs and all that pizzas. So yeah, that's what I'll be having. They do the rare thing that I fucking love, where they give the curry in a sauce, so you can have like your pizza or your kebab and then like a masala sauce, like in a little Tupperware where you can just dip in a little bit of naan, dip in action.
Yeah. Looks like we know what his order is then straight away.
And then
kebab with curry sauce, surely.
Literally, that's exactly what I'm having. Already said to Kate. That's mixed kebab, curry sauce. That's what I'm having.
Nailed it.
Sounds class.
And then Sunday, same as pretty much you boys, really. I'll be watching.
Golf?
No, everyone other than you.
Doing commentary.
Yes, I am actually. I'll be sat there commentating on the Manchester Derby. Nobody will be listening, but I'll be doing commentary for Manchester Derby. No, I'm not really. But yeah, Manchester Derby at 3:30, and then same as you boys, cannot wait for the 5 p.m. Red Zone to start, and we do kick off at 5 as well. So it's going to be a bit tight between that Manchester Derby finishing and the Packers starting at 5. But there we go.
Yeah, definitely. Right, lads, before we go, great episode. Really enjoyed it. Looking forward to the questions that you've got next week. I've already got mine prepped, but I've got one more question for each of you. Sam, I'm going to come to you first, mate. Can you give us a prediction, put your name to a prediction for the Fury-Ngannou fight on Saturday evening? Well, I know the outcome is obvious, but let's have a very specific prediction from you.
It's difficult. It's like you fucking just pissing it win with these because it's only a 10 round to start with, so it's not going to go. It's not 12. You just look at is it going to have shades of your Logan Paul Mayweather, where Mayweather just fucking carried him, literally stopped him from falling down like 3 times. So it could have shades of that. I don't think Ngannou's going to land a punch on Fury, to be honest. So I'll say a Fury. I don't even want to say it. No, I'm going to say Fury decision. Fury decision after 10 rounds. I can't see Ngannou being knocked down, to be honest. So, I mean, Kemp knows more. I've never seen him fight, but he just looks like a fucking big lad, and he looks like a bruiser. So, and Fury, let's be fair, Fury's never been blessed with knockout power. So, I think Fury on points, I'm going to say, but it's going to be very debatable. It's probably going to carry him to final bell.
Kemp, you will be very happy to know, mate, that I'm going to ask you the same question because I can see you're eager to get your bit in. So, mate, the exact same question to you.
I would love it if Francis Ngannou, as my hero Kevin Keegan says, I'd love it if Francis Ngannou answered the final bell. However, unfortunately, that will definitely not happen. In terms of boxing skills, Tyson Fury is playing chess, and Francis Ngannou is not even playing checkers. He's playing Ludo, probably, or something like that. Yeah, it's the vast gulf in between the skill set in terms of pure boxing is so big that Tyson Fury can literally walk forward and not have to worry about anything coming back in his way. And as we've seen since he's been with Sugar Hill Stewart of Croc Gym, that's what he does. You mentioned there, Sam, he's not really got one punch knockout power, but it's the accumulation, right? The destruction job he did of Deontay Wilder in the second and the third fight in the end. He can definitely more than capable of doing that to Francis Ngannou as well. So I'm going to go with a Tyson Fury TKO in the 4th round.
Fair enough. And Aggy, to close the show, mate, can you please give us your best Charlie Nicholas impression saying sitting here thinking?
I cannot know.
Okay.
But to answer your original question, despite the fact I have very little knowledge on
But he
boxing,
didn't ask you this question.
Yeah, I don't want to.
You
you
don't wanna know
want an
your
answer
opinion
from
on
each of
boxing.
us.
No. I had a question
no.
for each of you. And my question for you is, can you give
Right.
us your best Charlie Nicholas impression saying, sitting here thinking?
Right, my answer for you is no.
Okay.
All right,
Good
go on
night,
then.